All right, if you remember, they had a problem. They were all happy and they were partying, and then the centipede fell over. James jumped down and saved his life. And now they're all a bit more serious. They're like, let's stay up on top of the peach, even though it's nighttime, and make sure everything's going to be okay. So that's where we are right now. And do you think everything's going to be okay, knowing what's happened so far? And we still have, we're a little bit over halfway. So probably not everything's going to be okay. Chapter 27. James Henry Trotter and his companions crouched close together on top of the peaches. The night began closing in around them. Clouds like mountains towered high above their heads on all sides, mysterious, menacing, overwhelming. Gradually it grew darker and darker, and then a pale three-quarter moon came up over the tops of the clouds and cast an eerie shadow. So this is what explain it. Eerie light over the whole scene. The giant peach swayed gently from side to side as it floated along, and the hundreds of silky white strings going upward from its stem were beautiful in the moonlight. So also was the great flock of seagulls. So we can see them here. There was not a sound anywhere. Traveling upon a peach was not in the least like traveling in an airplane. The airplane comes clattering and roaring through the sky, and whatever might be lurking secretly up there in the great cloud mountains goes running for cover as it approaches. That is why people who travel in airplanes never see anything, because it's so loud, everything runs away. But the peach, yes, the peach was this soft, stealthy traveler, making no noises at all as it floated along. And several times during that long, silent night ride high up over the middle of the ocean in the moonlight, James and his friends saw things that no one had ever seen before. Once, as they drifted silently past a massive white cloud, they saw on top of it a group of strange, tall, wispy-looking things that were about twice the height of ordinary men. They were not easy to see at first because they were almost as white as the cloud itself, but as the peach sailed closer, it became obvious that these things were actually living creatures. Tall, wispy, wraith-like, shadowy white creatures who looked as though they were made out of a mixture of cotton wool and candy floss and thin white hairs. "Oh," said the ladybug, "I don't like this at all." "Shh," James whispered back. "Don't let them hear you. They must be the Cloudmen." "Cloudmen?" they murmured, huddling closer together for comfort. "Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, I'm glad I'm blind and I can't see them, or I would probably scream." "Oh, I hope they don't turn around and see us," said Miss Spider. "Oh, do you think they would eat us?" "They wouldn't. They would eat you," the centipede answered, grinning. "They would cut you up like a salami and eat you in thin slices." The poor earthworm began to quiver all over in fright. "Oh, but what are they doing?" the old green grasshopper whispered. "I don't know. Let's watch and see," said James. The Cloudmen were all standing in a group, and they were doing something peculiar with their hands. First, they would reach out, all of them at once, and grab handfuls of clouds. Then they would roll these handfuls of clouds in their fingers until they turned into what looked like large white marbles. Then they would toss the marbles to one side and quickly grab more bits of clouds and start over again. It was all very silent and mysterious. The pile of marbles beside them kept growing larger and larger. Soon there was a truckload of them there at least. "They must be absolutely mad," the centipede said. "There's nothing to be afraid of here." "Oh, be quiet, you pest. We shall all be eaten if they see us," said the earthworm whispered. But the Cloudmen were much too busy with what they were doing to have noticed the great peach floating silently up behind them. Then the watchers on the peach saw one of the Cloudmen raising his long wispy arms above his head, and they heard him shouting, "All right, boys, that's enough. Get the shovels." And all the other Cloudmen immediately let out a strange... Oh, that's where it ends. And all the other cloudmen immediately let out a strange high-pitched woo of joy and started jumping up and down and waving their arms in the air. Then they picked up the enormous shovels, rushed over to the pile of marbles, and began shoveling them down as fast as they could over the side of the cloud into the space. Down they go, they chanted as they worked. Down they go. Hail and snow, freezes and sneezes, and noses will blow. There they are. There's the wispy, tall cloudmen pushing over all of the marbles. It's hailstorms, whispered James excitedly. They've been making hailstorms, and now they are showering them down onto the people in the world below. Hailstorms? That's ridiculous. This is summertime. You don't have hailstorms in summertime. They are practicing for winter, James told him. I don't believe it, shouted the centipede, raising his voice. Shh, the others whispered, and James said softly, For heaven's sake, centipede, don't make so much noise. The centipede roared with laughter. Those imbeciles couldn't hear anything. They're deaf. Imbeciles, another word for idiots, morons. Doorknobs, you watch. And before anyone could stop him, he had cupped his front teeth to his mouth and was yelling to the cloudman. As he yelled, as loud as he could, he cupped his front teeth to his mouth and was yelling at the cloudman as loud as he could. Idiots! Nincompoops, half-wits, blunderheads, asses, what on earth do you think you're doing over there? The effect was immediate. The cloudmen jumped around as if they had been stung by wasps. And then they saw the great golden peach floating past them not 50 yards away in the sky. They gave a yelp of surprise and dropped their shovels to the ground. And there they stood with the moonlight streaming down all over them, absolutely motionless, like a group of tall, white, hairy statues staring and staring as a gigantic fruit as it went sailing by. So imagine these guys. They just stop what they're doing. Those tiny little eyes are just watching you. Probably a little bit scary, I would think. Where are we? We're here. The passengers on the Peach, all except the centipede, sat frozen with terror, looking back at the cloudmen and wondering what was going to happen. Now you... Who said that? Earthworm. Now you've done it, you loathsome pest, whispered the earthworm to the centipede. I'm not frightened of them, shouted the centipede. And to show everybody once again that he wasn't, he stood up to his full height and started dancing about and making insult signs to the cloudman with all 42 of his legs. This evidently infuriated the cloudmen beyond belief. All at once they spun around and grabbed great handfuls of hailstones and rushed to the edge of the cloud and started throwing them at the Peach, shrieking with fury all the time. Look out! Quick! Lie down! Lie flat on the deck! It was lucky they did. A huge hailstone can hurt you as much as a rock or a lump of lead if it was thrown hard enough. And my goodness, how these cloudmen could throw. The hailstones came whizzing through the air like bullets from a machine gun, and James could hear them smashing against the sides of the Peach, burying themselves in the peach flesh with horrible squelching noises. And ping, 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 as they bounced off the poor ladybug's shell because she couldn't lie flat as the others. And then crack, as one of them hit the centipede right on the nose. Crack! Again, as another one hit him somewhere else. Oh, stop! Ow! Oh, stop! But the cloudmen had no intention of stopping. James could see them rushing about on the cloud like a lot of huge hairy ghosts, picking up hailstones from the pile, dashing to the edge of the cloud, hurling the hailstones at the Peach, dashing back again to get more. And then, when the pile of stones was all gone, they simply grabbed handfuls of cloud and made as many more as they wanted, and much bigger ones now, some of them as large as cannonballs. Quickly! Cried James. Down the tunnel! Or we'll all be wiped out. There was a rush for the tunnel entrance, and half a minute later everybody was safely downstairs inside the Stone of the Peach, trembling with fright and listening to the noise of the hailstones as they came crashing against the side of the beach. "I'm a wreck," said the centipede. "I'm wounded all over." "Oh, it serves you right," said the earthworm. "Would somebody kindly see if my shell's cracked?" the old ladybug said. "Give us some light," shouted the old green grasshopper. "I can't," wailed the glowworm. "They've broken my bulb." "Then we'll put in another one." "Be quiet a moment. Listen, I do believe they're not hitting us anymore." They all stopped talking and listened. Yes, the noise had ceased. The hailstones were no longer smashing against the beach. "We've left them behind. The seagulls must have pulled us away out of danger. Hooray! Let's go up and see." Cautiously, with James going first, they all climbed back up the tunnel, and James poked his head and looked around the corner. "It's all clear. I can't see any of them anywhere." "Do you think they're gone? Is all good? What's your prediction?" All right. See you guys.